In this video, you're going to learn the chemistry state indicators. This is going to go with the chart on page 2 in your packet. And just pause the video anytime you need to write something down and I'm going too fast. So this is the chart we're filling in together. It's on the bottom of page 2. And it says state indicators, which are also sometimes called state signifiers. Up here at the top. So what our state signifier or state indicator is it's written after a chemical formula to tell you a little bit more about that chemical, like state of matter, or if it's a mixture because it's mixed in water. They're always written inside the parentheses, and here's what they mean. So parentheses S means solid. So if something's in the solid state of matter, you would put parentheses S after it. There's a couple of context clues. If they don't flat out say solid, you might hear metal, pieces, powder, lumps, wire, strips, crystals, anything that if you pictured it, you could like pick it up. So here's a picture of some copper wire, and that's going to be our example. So copper wire is a solid. So what we would write for copper wire is the symbol for copper, which is Cu, and then we'd put parentheses and we put the S after it. So if that's all you saw on a piece of paper, you would call that solid copper. The next one is parentheses L, and I like to use a cursive L because if I don't, I feel like it just looks like a 1. So yeah, I like to use a little cursive L, and that stands for liquid. And the only liquid that we probably are going to work with is water, if it's in the liquid form, if it's not ice, and if it's not water vapor, because what you'll learn over here is that most of the things that look like liquids to us are actually water with something mixed in. So water, if it's like pure distilled water, we have this really cool device that will distill water for us. And so I took tap water and I distilled it. And so all that's in there should just be H2O parentheses L, liquid water with nothing else in it. The next one over, parentheses G, is for gas. So it's in the context clues, you might see like atmospheric as far as oxygen, or vapor if it was water, or bubbles if you had a reaction and some compound was bubbling out. So I couldn't find a picture of a gas that wasn't really dumb. So I'm just going to tell you that the oxygen that you're breathing right now in the air is O2, because oxygen is one of those diatomic elements, parentheses G. And then the last one, parentheses AQ, that means aqueous. So like in Spanish, water is agua, so that kind of looks like agua right there. What this means is that it is dissolved in water. So you might see some context clues that say a solution of. Well, that means they took that compound and they put it in water. And so now it's aqueous. Acids are always aqueous. The way something becomes an acid is it dissolves in water and produces hydrogen ions. If they say dissolved, most of the time they're talking about water. If they're not, they better tell you what they're talking about. So you would put AQ. So the example I picked, I found this really cool picture that shows all these ions that when you dissolve them in water, they make really cool colors. And see how they've written AQ after each one, because that means they're dissolved in water. So if you had salt, just like regular salt, and you dissolved it in water, what you would write down scientifically is NaCl parentheses AQ, because the NaCl is the salt, and this tells you it's dissolved in water. So one last little thing that will tie it into what we talked about the first day of school is that anything solid, liquid, and gas is a pure substance. It's just that one chemical present in that state of matter. But this one over here on the right, aqueous, is always a mixture because it's always something mixed in with water. So even if you see something like a chemical, like if you see this, NaCl, and you're tempted to say that's a compound, if you see AQ after it, you have to call that a mixture because it's two compounds mixed together. It's water and it's salt mixed together.